Navaratri, everybody, how's it going? It's Sannyasi Shivani here. Wanted to chat to you for yoga views on the new moon on April 12th. And so we've just had the full moon on March 28th. I don't know if you noticed, but it was like intense. So the new moon we've got coming up on April 12th. And it's really exciting. I am really excited about the different configurations happening. I'm also excited about the fact that it is no coincidence that Navaratri, or the 9 nights of Durga, is actually coincides with this new moon for the first 9 days of the next lunar cycle. So, but I'm going to get to that at the end. Hello, Candace. It is so great to see you. So I want to touch base on, first of all, on Aries. Okay, when we have the new moon on the 12th of April, we're going to have an entire handful of planets in Aries. And this is really exciting because we've got the sun. We have got, which of course is your ego and the ego and your purpose and your drive, right? Then you've got the Venus, which is love and creativity. We've got Mercury, which is movement. We've got Charon, which is health, right? So the Mercury, Sun, the Moon, which of course is the soul and emotions, Venus and Charon. And it all being in Aries for this new moon, because it is, Namaste and gracious, it's so lovely to see you, darling. It is so auspicious this year. This new moon is the beginning of the year. And it is so auspicious to have so much Aries energy, and that Aries loves to step forward in a huge way, right? And fire is, to have 5 signs in a fire sign like Aries is going to set us up for being able to step forward with great gusto. Now, if you watch the last yoga views, I was talking about how these last 2 weeks are all about the fact, Atmanavadan, it is so beautiful to see you in the Monarayan. We've been walking down the aisle to what we are fully committing to, and we can see it in our sights, and we have done all the background. We've got the clothes, the flowers, and everything. This has been the last month. This is our preparation for the big day. This new moon is saying, I do. Right now, you can appreciate, if your ducks aren't in a row right now between the 28th of March and the 12th of April, then you might be looking at what is standing at the end of the aisle going, do I really want to do this? Exactly what am I doing? Like, what would I... Get clear. Please get really, really, really clear, because this impulse on the 12th of April with all of these planets in Aries is going to be this huge stepping forth. And as you can tell, if what you're stepping towards on the 12th of April is not where you want to be, just like if you were to get halfway down the aisle and turn around, you're likely going to be creating some drama. Okay? And that's not what we need, because the North Node is in Gemini. That's the word I'm looking for. The North Node is in Gemini. And so that is clarity and simplicity in our communications is absolutely key. And of course, when we create drama or we create mistakes or we're out of right alignment, then you're actually creating chaos. And that really complicates communication. Often there's a lot of emotion behind our communication, and so we've got to learn to take a breath, take a step, hold the space of love, even when conflict is knocking at your door. Okay, we've really got to step into a next level of emotional maturity so that we can navigate these energies. Because if we have unrefined fire, if we've got unrefined emotions, especially anger, then this new moon could be potentially quite volatile because of where Saturn is. And Saturn is the past. And of course, Saturn is in Aries. And so Saturn is really in a bit of a discord with, I'm just going to look at my notes, Saturn and Uranus. And Uranus is all about change. Okay, so on the 12th of April, you've got these 5 fire signs. You are saying I do. So get really clear, start new projects, step into love. It's also with Karen being in Aries at the same time, it's going to be a really beautiful time to understand health, to really understand, because Gemini, Mercury is also right there in the same sign as Karen in Aries. And of course, Mercury is ruled by Gemini, and Gemini loves to understand. I don't know if you've ever noticed this about me, but I love to understand. And so Karen, you're going to be able to understand. The fire of Aries is going to illuminate, the sun is going to illuminate what is happening with our health. And our health is a really good barometer to see where we're experiencing a lot of change. Now, a change in your health isn't always for the negative, right? A change in your health is a deep, deep, deep purification on every level of our being. And if we can look at any imbalance in health or dis-ease, because that's really what it is, it's a dis-ease within our health, then we can look at it, it's showing us this is our opportunity where we can heal, because that's what a disease is. It is showing us where we have a weak spot, where we have a spot that is unrefined, where we have a spot within our psyche, our mind, our emotions, or our body that is not vibrating at the most optimal frequency. And that is what creates the disease. So it gives us an opportunity to look at those aspects. And so there's a lot of people with health, whether it's COVID or other things right now, there's a lot of the new frequencies are really being anchored down into our bodies, and that is bringing to the surface in our bodies anything that has not yet recalibrated. So any disturbance in your health, look to this new moon as a great opportunity to create some understanding about what is happening and really look at the big picture. Okay, so these 5 elements are in really good configuration with the North and South lunar nodes. And the North Node is in Gemini, and this is always what we want to be moving towards. So clear communication, as I've already said. But what's really interesting is that Mars is in Gemini and Mercury is in Aries. So Mars is ruled by Aries and Mercury is ruled by Gemini. And they're like friends, and they've swapped houses, and they're fine with this. They're good. They're quite comfortable. If your bestie went to your house and you were at their house, you'd be like, oh, okay, make yourself a cup of tea. So there is this momentum, this impulse of stepping forward with clarity, with good communication. So these are really, really positive things. Okay. Now around the 13th of April, which is just after the new moon, of course, the moon's going to move into Taurus. Now, what is in Taurus right now is Uranus, and Uranus is about irrevocable change. Okay, so this is, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a lot of energy this year so far as Uranus has moved into Taurus around recalibrating to food. What are you eating? How are you eating? How often are you eating? How much are you eating? I don't know about you, but I have sincerely diminished the amount of food that I have been taking on. I'm somebody who particularly loves food, especially emotional eating, and this has just not been an option so far this year. So as this moon moves into Taurus on the 13th of April, there's a really it's a really good time. Change is possible. Okay, actual change is possible. Earthbound, rooted, this third dimension change is possible if we can take the emotional identity and the volatility out of the anger, out of the fire. Then I really believe that change is absolutely possible. Okay, but the challenge with where the placement of the moon, which is really going to heighten our emotions to change on the 13th of April, is the fact that it's not going to be in a very good alignment with Saturn, as I mentioned earlier. Now, Saturn's all about the past. It's about the karmas that have to be digested. Saturn has to be, you can't bypass Saturn. You've got to graduate from Saturn. You don't graduate a class by beating the teacher, right? That's not how you succeed at a specific subject. So you have to learn how to navigate the karmas and navigate the lessons and navigate the past. You can't just create a new paradigm and go, okay, now everybody, we're just in the fifth dimension now. Like, just forget about everything that's happened with systemic racism. Forget about everything that's happened with this. Forget about everything that's happened with, minorities and just all of the pain and all of the challenges that are so timely needing to come to the surface and be looked at. We're not going to be able to step into this new dimension by just going, okay, but that was yesterday and that was the past and now we're going to move forward. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. We've got to be able to learn how to actually navigate. We've got to see a bigger picture, because the past, the present, and the future are actually an illusion. And so to heal the past, we've got to be able to bring the past into the present and allow the recalibration. Now, what does that mean? All airy, fairy, woo-woo. Okay, what I understand that to mean is that we have to learn to live in such integrity and in such an ability to witness what our experience is, that and expand our awareness, so that in the moment we are experiencing these lower frequencies, these imbalances, these traumas, these things, and we experience the emotion of them coming to the surface, that in the moment we have enough wherefore and integrity to choose differently, right? That in the moment, not 20 minutes later. I mean, that is one stage where you get all feisty and you get all upset and stuff, and you got to take a break and then come back to it. That is an earlier stage. But what I'm talking about is where the change actually happens, where the magic and the healing actually happens, is when you are feeling the pain, when you are feeling the imbalance. And in that moment, you surrender. In that moment, you choose love. In that moment, you choose simplicity, kindness, clarity. When all of the emotions and all the stories are swirling inside of you, that in that moment, you ask, what if I don't know what is happening right now? What if I'm not seeing clearly right now? What would love do in this moment, even though everything in my body is saying something righteous, or saying something triggered, or saying something where, we have a story going on, because there's all this emotion backing it up. In that moment is really the opportunity for change. Now, to get there, it's not child's play. It's the work. It is real challenge, and it is trial and error. And it is trying it again and again and again and again until you get to the point where you can see the energy of a pattern of Saturn, of a karma coming towards you. And you go, all right, this is what I've been working for. This is what I've been practicing for. This is what my sadhana is for. This is what my mantras are for. This is what the teachings are for. This is it. And as that wave hits you and you feel all that stuff come to the surface, go, no, I'm not buying it. I choose love. I'm not going to get angry at you. I'm going to choose to love you. Now, in choosing to love, that does not mean condoning bad behavior or putting somebody else in peril. That is not what I'm talking about, okay? What I'm talking about is the smaller day-to-day things that are happening, and going, no, I'm not going to turn a blind eye to that right now. I'm going to choose love. What would love do in this moment? It would stand up for what is right. It would stand up for kindness, but it would not force, it would not become violent in its expression, but it would become very still, very clear, very quiet, and very untouchable, right? It would very untouchable. That when you have that frequency of love emanating from you, there is nothing that can penetrate that. There's nothing. There's no need for it, because you have everything you need coming from you. It doesn't matter what's coming at you. And to be able to conjure, to connect to that frequency of love in the face of Saturn's patterns coming up again and again and again, this to me is the work. This to me is the definition of healing, right? So this is the 13th of April. This is it, people. Let's go. We're going to have lots of opportunity, okay? Because Saturn in the past has been, frankly, where we've been very comfortable for a very, very long time. We've used it. We've used often patterns of abuse and patterns of trauma to keep ourselves safe. But that's not what we're being asked to do right now, right? We're being asked to really go deep inside and figure out, what are we going to live for, and step forward in that. So that's the 13th of April. Okay. Now, Neptune being in Pisces is in a bit of a discord with the North and South nodes. Now, Neptune is all about what you believe. And so anytime, here's a practice for you, okay? Anytime in the next month that you hear yourself the words say, I know, even if it's about, have we run out of cat food? Yes, I know, right? Anytime you hear the words, I know, come out of your mouth, I want you to stop and go, but do I? Now, that's not about creating self-doubt. It's about stop habitually creating a reality based on beliefs that have not been inquired, right? We really need to have the courage to question our beliefs. That doesn't mean not stand behind them when we have questioned them, discerned, and then decided that this is really what we want to be doing or what we want going to stand behind. But it's having the courage to question them at all. And I find that there's a lot of things coming to the surface where people very dogmatically are holding on to who they are and what they are and blah, 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 without having the courage. And that holding is fear. That holding is fear that they're on the wrong side of history. All right. And so really with Neptune and Pisces being at a discord with that simplicity and that clarity of the North Node being in Gemini right now, if your opinion is creating chaos and hurt, then ask yourself, do I really know? And what would happen if my belief stayed the same, but I didn't project it so dogmatically at the righteousness of I know? And somewhere in between there of really believing and understanding and knowing and needing to express what we know, in between there is grace and there is truth. So check that out. Anytime you say, I know, I want you to really just ask yourself, do I know, right? And then when you decide, yeah, I do, when you can feel the love and the calm and the clarity that you don't need to prove it to anybody, that you don't need to shout it from the rooftops, that you don't need to convince anybody else about what you know. When it's enough just to know, then let your action step forward. Okay? With Neptune being in Pisces and around this belief and really needing to explore this belief, I want you to look at the lower impulses that are acting out on Earth. Now, God knows there are some horrific lower impulses that have been acting out in North America in the last month, with multiple mass shootings and human trafficking and what's happening at the borders, and it's just the list goes on. I'm not trying to miss anything out to diminish. It's important. There's many very important things out there, but when we get very emotionally bought into the micro of the pain of what is coming to the surface, you can't fix that pain and that problem from that level, right? And this is what Neptune's giving us an opportunity to look at with our eye nose, okay? In that we've got to be able to step back into a bigger picture, because with the space of a bigger picture of what is happening on a much bigger scale within the soul collective consciousness on earth, you're able to see and navigate, and there's space to move around that's going to actually help neutralize the frequencies that are creating the reality that is creating the pain. But taking a piece of pain and fighting it with your own pain is not going to work. It's never worked. It never will work. Let's change. Okay? So really, what is the bigger picture? Okay? And the bigger picture often is experienced from the I don't knows. The I don't knows is where creativity and grace rush in, so that new realities that we have never even dreamed of have the ability to come through. Okay? So in this, there's a very auspicious day on the 17th of April when the moon moves into Gemini, and the moon of our soul and our soul and our emotions connect with that North Node in Gemini, is very auspicious. Now, what's really cool, which you might not know, is that that is the 17th of April this year, is that also the middle day of Navaratri, which is the middle day of Lakshmi. And in case you didn't know, the middle day of Lakshmi is the day that we found Niwas. It is the most auspicious and abundant day of Navaratri. And of course, Navaratri starts on the 12th and goes for 9 days, 9 nights. Navaratri is the 9 nights of Durga. So on the 12th of April, when we start this new moon, we're going to be really using sadhana and mantra and really aligning ourselves with the possibility of deep change through sadhana, through mantra, through the Navaratri, coming into this portal of abundance and very auspicious frequencies on the 17th of April. So circle that on your calendar, and really come into, even if it's a very small sadhana for Navaratri, commit to that small sadhana and really prioritize each day connecting to that energy of the soul, connecting to the energy of the Divine Mother, and allow that wave of frequency to take you to places you've never experienced before. Everything in the cosmos is aligning so that you have this possibility. It's only whether or not you say I do to it is actually going to be whether or not it manifests. So be aware of the past, be aware of what you know, open up to change, open up to possibility, be willing to step forward with clarity, with kindness, with simplicity, and love beyond all else. Choose love in every moment, and know that when you choose love in the face of everything bubbling up inside of you that does not feel loving, that is the point of healing. That is the magical moment where grace has an opportunity to rush in and your reality will change. So, Happy New Year. Happy New Moon in Aries. K to D starts next Tuesday on the 6th of April, and it's really designed to support everybody and give them that thread through the next 9 months of gestation, of using all of these alignments and all of these opportunities to their fullest potential. So if you're interested in that, check out our website, ishtadevniwas.ca. See you there. Namo Narayan.